Hey guys, Michael back here, otherwise known as X-Predator756. Today we're going to be doing a review on this very familiar and very well-known Tier 9 tank destroyer, the Obj.704. It is a Tier 9 Russian tank destroyer, a very, very powerful Tier 9 Russian tank destroyer. And sorry about that. Sorry about that too. I'm eating my food and I'm drinking my drink. We're going to be doing a review on this tank, and I'm going to try and make it the best one that I've done so far. Alright? And so let's get into it. So, the Obj.704, hold on. Get rid of this stick. Right, so the Obj.704 is a development in 1945 on the basis of the IS-2 and IS-3 vehicles under the supervision of Joseph Cotton. One of the distinctive features was the balanced slope angle of armor plates, passed trials successfully but never entered service. And so let's get into it. So the Obj.704 has 700 brake horsepower and has a power rate of 14.38, a top speed of 37 and a reverse speed of 12 and a fire chance of 12. That is actually, or a reverse speed of 13 and a fire chance of 12. And the fire chance is actually really good, which means a lot of the time you can avoid running a fire extinguisher and run food or, you know, an extra repair kit on this thing, which I actually do. The base reload time is 18.1 seconds, which if you don't have a rammer or anything that'll boost your reload, that's going to take for damn ever. It has an aiming time of 2.9 and has an accuracy of 0.39. Max elevation of 18 and max depression of 6. It has a track rotation speed of 22 degrees a second and terrain resistance of a 1.1 on hard, 1.4 on medium, and 2.3 on soft, which is actually really good. Like, surprisingly good. Like, you can get to places pretty fast with this tank. If you know where you're going, you can get there pretty fast with this tank. It has a signal range of 730 meters. That's about average. Now it has a damage of 563 to 938, with a penetration of 215 to 358. It has 247 to 400 with the AP rounds with 880 meters a second. The APCR, or the UBR 551P, that's 247 to 411 millimeters penetration with 1100 meters a second shell velocity. And the high explosive rounds do 713 to 1188 with 68 to 113 millimeters penetration with a 3.66 meter blast radius and 880 meters a second. And the crew is fairly standard where you think they would sit. Getting into the actual packages, you'd start off the tank with this, which is actually what the real life Obj.704 has. It has a howitzer. It doesn't have a gun that actually shoots AP rounds. It's meant to shoot a high explosive. I would buy this, but I don't want to buy it. You essentially get a better 122. It's another, or it's the ISU 152's gun. This one, and that's kind of bad. You can do this package, which has the same 150 mil, but it has better tracks, better engine, better signal range. You know, the usual. Then you have this, which you get the BL-10, which used to be on the ISU 152 at Tier 8. The ISU 152 at Tier 8 used to be the most devastating tank in the game, probably, tier for tier. Because you could pen everything that you would meet, and you did half the health of all equal tiers, and 3/4 to sometimes all the health of lower tiers. And then you can choose to keep this one and go right to the Obj.268, but I decided to get the better tracks because 19 degrees track traverse compared to 22, it's like night and day. So yeah, and this tank gets a lead on from the ISU 152, if I can get there. The ISU 152 is right here. See, you have the D4S on this one. And the 122s on this tank are not that bad. They're like, I think The 122 on this tank, if you keep the 122, I think is like the second highest base DPM in the game. But you want to run the 152 because objects or ISU 152, and the same thing on the 704, except you can't run anything smaller than a 152. And then it eventually leads on to the Object 268, which I honestly can't wait to get because this thing has 850 alpha, 303 millimeters of base penetration, 395 of heat pen, and better mobility overall. So yeah, that's the review on this thing. I only have I only have 12 battles in it, 7 victories, 5 defeats. But I already have a mastery in it, and that's actually the video that's going to be coming up next, the replay, which I will catch you guys in about 10 seconds. Peace. Alright guys, now we're into the replay section after the review part of the Obj.704. And this replay, I was just going to post it on YouTube alone, but it was too good of a game to just post willy-nilly. And it actually shows a lot of the nature of the 704, just how brutal it can be, and also just how trolly the armor can be. And you'll see what I mean by trolly armor in a second, or in a couple minutes, because this tank is ridiculously troll. Or especially in this game, against the guns that were shooting at me. So we started off, I forget what the name of this map is. We started off on this map. We are bottom tier, I believe. Yep, bottom tier. Or no, not bottom tier, mid tier. And we're going to the east. Generally, in a tank destroyer of this caliber, doesn't have a turret where you can afford kind of sacrificing a bit of the mobility and that kind of stuff. Going to the east here isn't that bad of an idea. It's actually probably a better idea than going to the west, because the west is really open and people can get around you really easily, whereas here in the east you can see we have a bunch of buildings that protect us. So we're going to start off here. I think that's an E5 behind me, and there's an M103 right here beside me. And I kind of stole this M103's spot, but I feel like he has the stop gun, so I feel like he's going to do a lot less here than I will, because his stock gun, I believe, only has 320 alpha, and mine has 750. You know, I have a whole 500 alpha more than him, so I'm going to do a lot more here than he is. So it started off good. We put 809 into Conquer, and then we take out this UDES with a 572 roll, I believe that was. And the reload on this tank is not too bad. It gives you time to pull back it gives you time to pull back so the enemies shoot at somebody else, and then you can pull back around while they're reloading, and bang, a whole another 750 damage into them. So I'm already up to 1381, and I'm gonna try and get a shot on this Panzer IV, but it doesn't work out. Just as he starts moving forward, just as I pull the trigger, he started moving forward. That would have been the kill shot on him had that not happened. And then there's going to be here in a second. And me and the C5 are doing really good holding back the C4. Because the C4, if it gets into a good position, he is really hard to get out if people don't know of his weak spots. And watch this. Boom. That shell flew high and right. Should have missed him, but gave me a ricochet. I don't know why it did that. And with that, both of us firing, the E4 decides to cut across. And just as I'm reloading, that baby waffle pulls back. I call that a baby waffle. I call the E100 waffle the waffle, and then I call the Panzer IV variant the baby waffle. So now me and this E4, or E5, yeah, I think that's an E5. We're going to be pushing up to this IS-4. Yep, that's an E5. We're going to be pushing up towards this IS-4. And this IS-4, in fact, if I wasn't here, everybody else would have one hell of a hard time getting this IS-4 out of this position. Because that is a very strong position for that IS-4. And I take a shot from the T-124. I think that's like 930 damage he did to me. I think it's 930 damage he did to me. But then watch this. He's going to come around, I'm going to instantly turn my armor and boink. That's how troll the armor is. 295 base AP pen, and he bounces off of my armor. I guess you can argue he did bounce off of the gun mantlet, which on this tank is ridiculous, and then I put 794 into him, and boom, he bounces off again. And that's just how troll this tank's armor is. I've done just under 3,000 damage, and I've blocked 1,700. Both shots were from an E4. And I'm pretty sure he was firing standard rounds, because a premium round is 375 base APCR pen. That would have gone through me no problem. I would be dead. So I bounced 2 shots from him, and that's how trolly this armor is. And you're gonna see again just how trolly the armor is in a second. And I've decided to fall, instead of pushing in there, I've decided to fall back because I know the 60 TP is gonna come around. And it's guaranteed the 60 TP is going to come around, because any sane player is going to think, okay, now we flank the other guys. They're all probably gone after the E4 and IS4, so now we flank. But the thing is he probably very highly did not expect me to still be here. So he ended up taking out our artillery, and then I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a shot into his lower plate, and then look, he bounces off of us as well. And this is all coming from the mantlet and them rushing their shots. So look at that. He does something really smart here. He baits me out, and then once I get out, he turns around, but it doesn't work out in his favor because he's going to bounce off again. This time it wasn't the mantlet with the side armor, which is side armor on this thing. You can over-angle in this, and you're still going to do extremely well. It's really truly armor this object, this 704 has. So I've done about 4,400 damage. And I've blocked 3,200 damage. That's how troll this armor is. And then there's an E5 that's going to be coming around here. So I turn my armor around since I know that the IS4 and the E4 are dead. And then I see this E50M, that's an E50M show up on the right. And I don't remember what the light tank is, but I take the light tank out regardless. It was a Batchat 12T. Take the light tank out, and now I'm up to 5,000 damage. And already this is my best game in this tank so far. So now I know that the E50M and the E50M and the E4, or E50M and the E5 are down there, and I know they have more than enough penetration to go through my armor if they aim. If they don't aim and they try and rush their shots, then maybe I'll have a chance to avoid their shells. But if they aim well, they aim properly, they'll go through my armor every time that they shoot, because that's just how this tank's armor is. It's meant to be troll. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come around the corner here. I'm going to aim up a shot at I think it's the E50M that pens me. Yeah, it was the E50M. And I aimed up at the E5 and I shot him for, I think, 732 or 31 damage that was. And I penned him. So now he's down to a 1-shot for me, and so is the E50M. Or he's down to just over 1 shot. I have to roll slightly high to kill that E5. And the E50M is a guaranteed 1-shot. So what I'm actually trying to do is I'm actually trying to find an angle where that E50M can actually come out, because I know the M103 is taking shots and I know the M103 is shooting, so I was actually waiting for an angle to see whether or not that E50M would come out and try and get around that M103. But he played smart. He knows that there's big damage behind him, or behind the M103, and he stayed and he took his time. So now we're going to be going after the RD, and I was hoping so badly that this RD would be on full health, because the M4043 has 400 health, I believe. 350 or 400, one of the two. And I was hoping so badly that he would be on full health, just so I could hit 6,000 damage. And we'll see how that turns out. And yeah, so this is so far my best game in the tank. I've only played about 15-20 games in it so far, and sadly the M4043 is not on full health. And then this shot flies very low into the dirt and doesn't kill him. So at this point I know that if the M4043 has the 203 mil on him, he will guaranteed kill me. And he didn't, but I took the chance anyways, because the gun looked a lot smaller than it did. So yeah, 5,939 damage with 3,200 block. That's how trolly the armor is for the 704, and that's how devastating this tank can be in the right position if the enemies don't take me seriously. Don't take this tank seriously. But yeah, that's the review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.